Marty Smith, ESPN college football analyst. Marty, I hope you're doing well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, man, we've had a great day here. We were on campus all day long with Coach Saban and the Tide, showing off the amazing facilities and the great traditions that you guys have here. It's always so nice to be here. And just an awesome day. Great to be around. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. I was looking at your photo a couple of minutes ago. You tweeted out Nick Saban has a jar of Little Debbie oatmeal pies. Did he offer you one? I mean, did you get one of those?
I think I could easily have commandeered one without him seeing me. However, I chose to make sure that I kept my clearance status into the facility, so I kept my hands off his Little Debbie snack cake.
I got you. Was Nick Saban in a really good mood?
He's in a very focused mood. That's the word I would use.
Okay.
To me, he's always a really insightful interview, and I appreciate the opportunity to glean his insight on a lot of things. Not just the game ahead, not just the game itself, but he also always seems to sprinkle a nugget about life in there too. But yeah, man, he is dialed in on Coach Sumlin and the Aggies. We were there just yesterday all day long in College Station, so we've been running. It was good to see Coach Saban today.
What is the difference between the two programs when you're talking to that group out there, those players, those coaches, and then talking here in Tuscaloosa to the players and the coaches here?
Well, I guess on the surface, fundamentally, there is no difference. You know, they're both undefeated teams. They both feel really confident. Christian Kirk, one of Texas A&M's stars, said something to me yesterday that I found to be very interesting. And he said, you will not find another college football game this year with more talent on the field than the one you're going to see Saturday afternoon. And when you look at what Bama has, we all know, my colleague Marcus Spears, Marcus is of the mind that there are 9 first-rounders on Bama's defense alone.
Wow.
And I know that's a hell of a statement. And when you look at their body of work and the fact that they've scored 8 defensive touchdowns and 11 non-offensive touchdowns, and Marcus feels like they have that much talent, which even if you don't know the game of football very well, X and O-wise, you can see just how athletic they are and the size and strength and speed and power that they have. And that's even above the coaching. So it is phenomenal. But down there in College Station, Coach Sumlin is confident. He was very loose when we chatted with him yesterday, in a great mood. And he feels like the difference this year, you know, they've been 5-0 the past 2 years down in College Station, but only to finish 8-5 both years. So what's the difference now? And he feels like it's their body of work. That meaning they didn't schedule a bunch of cream puffs to start the year. They've beaten 4 league foes already. In those 6 wins, 4 of them are SEC opponents. Now, one of those is South Carolina, so take that for what it's worth. But nonetheless, they really do have they've won some big games. And so they feel really confident. They feel like their scheme with Trevor Knight at quarterback is going to be beneficial. And it's going to have to be, because that's going to be the best defense Trevor Knight's ever seen.
Marty, when you look, are they taking the underdog approach? Is that part of the motivation that they'll bring into Tuscaloosa?
No doubt. I mean, when you're an undefeated football team and you do have those 4 league wins and then one, a 5th win against UCLA in the season opener, which was a barn burner. You are confident in your ability to close games, and you're confident in your ability to adjust within games. And so certainly when you come in and you're that substantial an underdog as an undefeated team, why wouldn't you? I would, if I were Kevin Sumlin, be beating that drum like nobody's business. Certainly you respect Bama. How couldn't you? I mean, they have the nation's longest winning streak. They're dominating the opponent. Look, Ole Miss notwithstanding, which was a great game, they're just beating everybody down. They're embarrassing people. And so you have to respect that if you're Kevin Sumlin and the Aggies, but you also have to play the respect card on your own side. Okay, we're an undefeated team. They don't think we got a shot. So I would certainly be sending that message if it were my players.
It may be part of the psychology, but talking to the players throughout the week with media availability, I just picked up that they were not pleased with everything that they've done so far. I think they're trying to look at the errors and the mistakes that they've made, because after talking with 5, 6, 7 players this week, It was all about, well, we missed this assignment, this block, we should have done better here. And I know that's the reflection of head coach Nick Saban, but they don't even believe that they played their best football yet.
I don't think they have either, and it's a good point you just made. It comes from the top. I mean, that is a direct reflection of the man that leads them. And you may have seen before the season started, we went out to his lake house in Georgia, and we discussed that. Hey, man, you've won 4 of 7. You've won 4 national championships in 7 years, and he cut us off. He goes, I don't even think about those. I think about the ones that got away from him. I think about Cam Newton, and I think about Ezekiel Elliott, and I think about the teams that beat us and why they beat us. That's what I obsess about. And that's why he's so excellent. There are many reasons why Saban's so excellent. I marvel at the man. But his psychological approach to life is the top of that list. The fact that he can take so many 5-star players, so many kids who have been told since they were 12 years old that they're God's gift, and get them to all pull in the same direction and be selfless for one another is his brilliance. That, to me, is the process. It's getting these kids in. It's psychologically taking that person who's been told that they're amazing for years and enveloping them into an already potent and well-oiled machine seamlessly. And Hugh Freeze down at Ole Miss said to me better than anyone else the difference between Bama and everybody else. Coach Freeze said to me, my top 22, my 11 starters on both sides of the ball, they can beat Alabama. It's 25 to 50 that we can't touch. Because they're 25 to 50, they're not 4 stars, they're not 3, they're 5-star players. And that's difficult to overcome. And to me, that is the genius of Nick Saban and his staff, is getting those kids to buy in like that.
Marty, I'm curious. One of your colleagues, Ivan Mazel, wrote an article back in the summer, and I want to think it was in the month of August. It could have been late July, and it was talking about the balance of Nick Saban, the grandchild, different things that he's made some adjustments. You have been around Nick Saban. You've had a lot of one-on-one conversations. You've been to his house. You've been to his lake house. You flew back with the team on the national championship. Can you see that change in Nick Saban as Ivan wrote about there, in that balance that he's found?
I'll say this. I have to – that answer needs to be prefaced, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Because I didn't know the man. I didn't know the guy at Michigan State. And he kind of – there's a line of demarcation for him from the Michigan State and previous Nick Saban and the LSU to now Nick Saban. When he was at Michigan State, he told me this summer. When he was at Michigan State, he was so all-consumed with winning and with proving himself that it was winning and proving himself, and it was everything else. And then he got to LSU, and he realized it has to be a play at a time, and you got to forget about it. And if you don't do that, no matter whether it's the best play you ever saw or the worst play you ever saw or the biggest win or the worst loss, it does no good to even consider it. And so, because in TV we call it Pluto. Once you say it, it's on live TV and it's out of your mouth, man, it's Pluto, it's gone. So that's kind of been his philosophy. But then he said something that really, really made me think about the human being. And that's that he was so all consumed with the game back then that he let his kids' lives speed by him before he realized it. And that is a man who has lived. And that's a man who has done it all. And on the other side of doing it, not that he's done by any means, but, now that he's won so much, and he might be the greatest of all time. If he's not the greatest of all time, he's in that 2 or 3 conversation. That's a man with perspective. And it's very keen perspective. That everything that I chase is wonderful. And it's great to be the standard. But take a moment and spend time with your loved ones and make sure that they know you love them and tell them you love them, because that's a very quick time in your life. And that's the beauty of that lake house for him, is his kids come back, he sees his grandbabies, and so that's very important to him now. So it is a very interesting, he's a very complex man, and one that fascinates me. And I love that I'm very fortunate and blessed to have been able to see that side of it.
We're talking to Marty Smith right now, and Marty, I look back at, and maybe this is a really homer opinion, but I look at all the system, whether you want to talk about college football playoffs. I believe at 2011, when Alabama played LSU, they gave college football playoffs because the rest of the nation did not want to see two teams playing for the national title. You look at so many rule changes. There's a bunch of rules named after Nick Saban. Evaluation period on campus because they don't allow that anymore. Spring evaluation period where a coach can go on campus. He's changed the game a lot of different ways, but he couldn't get a rule changed about the up-tempo teams. Now he's decided to join them. He joined them and said, I'll take your rules, and we won't change them, and I'll beat you playing with your books.
Again, that's just another layer of his brilliance. As I said a moment ago, I maintain that his true brilliance is people, okay? But his willingness to be pliable within the system being the NCAA, is fascinating too. Because you're right, he used to be line them up pro style, run it down your throat, right? And now, and you look at the last four quarterbacks he's had and how he has completely changed the offense every year, or maybe changed is the wrong word, but he's dabbled within that offense every year to accentuate whomever that quarterback was, whatever their skill set is. You know, A.J. McCarron was a really kind of classic drop-back kind of guy. Blake Sims really mobile. Coker kind of had both. He could throw it and he could run it. And now you have Hurts, and what they've done, what he and Coach Kiffin have done with Hurts is brilliant, because you take this young man who has otherworldly athletic skill, but you don't overwhelm him with minutia. You look at what the defense, what you believe that next opponent will give you. You implement a game plan on Sunday and Monday, and then you practice it ad nauseum, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so that by Saturday, by game time, it has become muscle memory for Jalen Hurts. And look what he's doing. He's had record-setting performances as the only true freshman quarterback that Nick Saban's ever started. You're exactly right. His willingness to change with the time. And, you know, I'm sorry, I want to make this point too. You know who he reminds me of a bit in terms of philosophical willingness to change? Mike Krzyzewski. Because Coach K forever was the 3- and 4-year guy. He got them in there, he taught them the Duke system, and they were successful when they were juniors and seniors. And then he realized that Coach Cal was kicking his tail in Kentucky. And what did he do? He changed with the times, and he won a national championship. And so those guys they're another level from the pack. And there's a reason. And that's one of those reasons. That's a good assertion.
Marty Smith right now, final couple of minutes. Who wins this game?
I got Bama, and I base it on a lot of things, but I just think that their depth is so overwhelming. A&M's a good team. They're a good team. But I think Alabama is a historically good team. So I got the Tide. I mean, again, I said a moment ago, you know, Marcus played for Coach Saban at LSU. And that guy played for the Dallas Cowboys for years.
Oh, he's a great player.
He knows
no doubt.
talent. Yeah, such a good player. And he knows talent. And when he looks at these guys and he says, there's 9 first-round draft picks, his jaw drops, but he knows. And yeah, I said this today, too, on SportsCenter. Like, my kind of under-the-radar guy is Eddie Jackson. When you're a preseason all-conference football player and you're under the radar, that tells you how deep and good they are. So I got the Tide, man.
You know what, Marty, I'm going to say this, and it may sound strange, but I'm not sure this is not Nick Saban's best team. I mean, they're going to have to accomplish the national title, but they got
to win it all.
Right, but I mean, you look at this talent, what they're doing defensively, and to know that the offense is just now getting cranked up with Lane Kiffin, I'm not sure exactly this is not Alabama's best team. I mean, Nick Saban's best team.
It's jaw-dropping what they're able to do. And I had a conversation with the coach recently, and I won't name names because it was a private conversation, but he was talking about how, you know, some programs are built with 2- and 3-star players, and they become really good because those 2 and 3 star players are ticked off that they were overlooked and were not 5 stars. Well, then once that program is lifted to an upper echelon, they start attracting the 5 stars, and the performance wanes because the 5 stars are coddled, okay? And, again, they get them in here. Their 5 stars are the best players in the country. They know they may not play, and there's no bones about that. It is made readily apparent to them in the recruiting process, and yet they still come. So it's I don't know. I'm having a big old kumbaya out here, but it's just I marvel at what they're doing here. It's hard to be sustained excellence in such a competitive sport with so much parity is very difficult to do, and they're the standard. I mean, it's amazing.
Hey, Marty, when is some of the conversations with Nick Saban going to air throughout the evening?
They'll air later on this weekend, actually.
Okay.
We're here all the way through the weekend, and I interviewed Miles Garrett from down at Texas A&M yesterday as well. That'll air later this week. He's a unique kid. If you guys don't know about him, check out that interview. Loves dinosaurs and paleontology, and he doesn't do social media. He could very well be the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So this job's more than I deserve. I'm fortunate to have it. Check it out.
Hey, are they going to give you a few hours off on Sunday to slip over to Dega?
I doubt it.
Man, I mean, you come to this close and you're not going to slip over to Dega? I mean,
I will say that race is going to be awesome. It's my favorite place in sport. Everybody always asks me, man, where should I go watch a race? I always tell them Talladega in the fall. It's the most authentic NASCAR experience there is. And Grant and his staff over there do an awesome job. And the race is going to be great. It always is.